So, you want to get better at hosting Twitter Spaces? Well, here's my fast fire 4 tips that you need to know. Number 1, it needs to have your interest. Number 2, it needs to have good vibes. Number 3, make sure you do your planning. And number 4, the listener's needs need to be met. Firstly, the Twitter space needs to be about things that you want to talk about. This way, it'll just make conversations flow a lot more naturally, and the whole process will just go easier. If you start to feel the conversation sliding off on a tangent, there are ways of mapping notes to keep you on track. But having the desire to want to follow a tangent might actually be better than rigidly sticking to a plan. And at times, it may be difficult as a presenter, because you will need to make quick calculations such as, yes, this is interesting to me, but will it stay relevant to the listeners if I get them to elaborate more? Is this the question the listeners want answered? And sometimes the answer to that question is no. So then you as the presenter can decide if you want to change track and go back to the original map. Not only do you need to orchestrate and moderate the space, you also need to form real questions on subjects being discussed, whilst also evaluating the conversations that are taking place to ensure that the listeners' needs are met through adequate answers. There is a lot to balance. So make sure you pick 2 to 4 guest speakers who are going to join you, who understand the subject matter that you're going to discuss and are very good talkers. Above all else, make sure you vibe with them as well. You know, there's no use pulling somebody up who you don't even like or respect as a person, even though they may be highly intelligent and a great thinker. So having the solid foundation of great speakers who all get along is literally the starting point. Because if all else fails with your plan, your questions and everything else you've planned, if everybody vibes and can conversate easily, then you have a Twitter space. But do always have a map, a playbook, a Word document which goes through roughly, you know, what's going to happen in the first 20 minutes, what's going to happen in the second half an hour, and a very large list of questions, more than you will ever need. Make sure you pre-plan a short introduction for each guest that you are introducing onto the stage. And whilst you're in the Twitter space, refer back to this document and make sure you have highlighted any important texts of words or sentences or phrases or questions that you want to refer back to. That way you don't have to scan the entire document throughout the whole Twitter space. You can just pick out the keywords which you've highlighted previously. Poor planning leads to piss poor performance. It's the age-old saying, and it still stands true to this day. So again, if conversations start to slow or go off track, go back to your original plan and there you go. You're good to go again. Keep the Twitter space brief. Aim for 1 hour. Normally, if you aim for an hour, it lasts 2. If you complete all of the above information, maybe throw in some of your own flavour and your own tips, then it's a guarantee that you will have a successful Twitter space. Maybe keep to a rigid schedule of weekly or bi-weekly, and by this point you will start to develop a following who want to come back and listen to your Twitter spaces and learn. Now, if you require any more information, any tips or questions that you may have, reach out to me on Twitter at Bitwax_, or just simply drop a comment on wherever you see this video and I should get back to you. So thanks for watching and hopefully this helped.